Series over. Carolina Hurricanes wrapping things up tonight, doing everybody a favor by putting the Washington Capitals away up in D.C. in Game 5. Alongside Joe Giglio, I'm Joe Ovias. This is OG After Dark. It is brought to you by Bloomin' Blinds. Check them out. 919-980-9815. Maybe you threw something at your blinds at some point tonight.
From an odd angle.
From an odd angle.
That's sunlight. You just couldn't block it.
It didn't go in. It didn't go in when you were trying. It didn't work in that situation. It worked for Andrei Svechnikov, who I know in the post game with TNT. It's like, I don't know what that angle was, man, but he even said, I'm just trying to put a puck on net. Puck went in the net on that one. Pretty impressive. And as we always like to talk about, Joe, your best players have to be your best players. And Andrei Svechnikov, pretty even game throughout in this one, but he was the one who stepped up there in the end to put this thing away.
Well, let's start with a really good Svech stat.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go.
I have two unbelievable stats for you. We'll save the one for the end, but Andrei Svechnikov in 2025. In January, he played 15 games, scored 5 goals. In February, played 6 games, scored a goal. March, 7 games, 1 goal. April, 7 games, 1 goal. That's 35 games in the regular season in 2025, 8 goals. In the playoffs, 10 games, 8 goals, including the game winner tonight. Just great play by him, and another outstanding effort from Freddie Anderson, and a little bit of help from Chris Huffine, the replay coach.
Yeah.
That was a year. I knew the Canes were going to win the game once they got that goal back. And my gosh, Brian Boucher, you would have. I mean, he must be still bitter at Ron Francis or somebody for when he played here. That is one of the more embarrassing calls I've ever heard in following all of this. Like, even Troy Aikman, when the Cowboys choke in the playoffs, isn't like, oh no, he was offsides. I was like, come on, man.
Look, man,
come on.
Both, I know it's been a running theme in all of this as it relates to the Carolina Hurricanes and the national conversation. I got the alert from ESPN. It's not about can the Canes wrap this series up, is can the Caps extend the series? Like the ESPN alerts, whoever's running them, they're never going to beat the allegations. But yeah, I guess you did the video clip of the TNT call and that offsides. I thought it was kind of funny. I'll play it. Oh no!
Oh man,
that's too bad. That's too bad. That's too bad. Let's bring on Luke DeCock, columnist, News and Observer. We just surprised him. We went right to him, just like that goal surprised Thompson. Right?
I'm Logan Thompson on cam here.
How'd that go in?
Short side. It's funny. We were talking so much about ESPN, and Ray Ferraro. The Hurricanes dominated game 1, and Ray's a really good dude. But obviously, PK having it out. And now, like, all of a sudden, TNT's like, oh man, that's where the money is. Like I was stunned this whole game. It's like Caps are playing so well. The Caps are playing. When are the Caps going to break through? And I was like, I don't know. It was a little jarring that, and like no recognition of like, are the Caps getting goalied?
Yeah.
When is the Caps shot volume approach actually going to work in the playoffs? And then the fact that my favorite one was in the handshake line when they showed Ovechkin and Brind'Amour talking, and I don't know who it was. I can't remember. It was Boucher or Kenny Albert or whoever they go. I'm sure he's congratulating him on the record. Ovechkin talked the whole time. You could see him talking the whole time. Like, clearly Ovechkin is doing the, you guys played really well. I hope you win it. Or, same thing he says Orlov and Rush in there. I'm sure Brind'Amour is congratulating him. Rob Brind'Amour is like, a good series, man. And by the way, congrats on setting that record a month ago after that game where we all fought.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like,
it is. I don't want to keep making it a thing.
No one wants to.
Nobody wants to do this. I know that some people might tune into this. They don't have any sort of familiarity because I know how the YouTube algorithm works. I get it. Understand this is more comical to us than anything else. Like, y'all, you're not even hiding it anymore. But yeah, I get it. Ovechkin's the sell. No more Ovechkin. So now they're going to have to wrap their arms around a potential Florida Carolina Eastern Conference Finals, which is just what everybody wanted, right? Because I can't imagine Toronto's going to bounce back after what we saw last night.
I mean, I think Toronto's as cooked as the Capitals were. And I'll give the Capitals credit. They played a better game than I thought they would. But the series, to me, as we talked about this afternoon on the regular pod, the series has been over since the second intermission of Game 3.
Mhm.
It was like tonight. Capitals threw everything they had at the Hurricanes. They couldn't break through. Hurricanes get some goals, break their hearts. You can only go through that so many times. And now, what we're going to hear about for the next, I don't know, what's today, Thursday?
Yeah.
5 days, 6 days before the next series starts, or 4 days, whatever it is they couldn't beat Bobrovsky in 23. Sergei Bobrovsky, can they beat Bobrovsky this time? This stuff
there's already ready baked, but they haven't won a conference final game.
That's baked in.
You go back to 2009, they've lost
0 for 12.
Yeah, so for 12.
Yeah.
Never mind whoever was here in 12, but
right.
Well, let's start as someone pointed out there with Nikishin. We finally saw Nikishin tonight, and no Chatfield, which seems like slightly alarming to me that he couldn't play in this game. But maybe Rod was erring on the side of caution here.
It was his birthday. Give him the day off.
What did you think of Gordie Howe / Bobby Orr?
The best
Russian
player. Yeah, well, he's I don't know that he did a lot to lose the Calder or Conn Smythe that he'd already won tonight. So good news for him. Obviously, I think I thought the same thing as everyone else. He looked on his first shift like his first shift came in a closeout playoff game on the road against the greatest goal scorer in NHL history. I think we all would have looked like that, no matter whether we play like Nikishin or don't. But I thought he got better.
Yeah.
There were a couple times where I thought he was trying a little too hard to be physical. He made a couple passes that you just kind of usually don't make in Game 6 of a second round playoff series. There was one. He was trying to exit the zone and he kind of passed it to the middle and it worked out okay. But it's just those are the kind of things you usually learn the hard way over the course of an NHL season. So he's going to have to get caught up pretty quickly. But overall, I mean, that is kind of a first do no harm performance. And I think after his first shift, once he settled in, he was fine. I don't think he gave you the sort of swooping aggressiveness sort of that you get from Chatfield when he's at his best. He loves to kind of jump in and he loves to hit people and all that. And I think Nikishin was still kind of feeling his way through it. Yeah. But, if you can put that guy in that game and win on an empty netter, you're going to feel pretty good about things because he's going to be better the next time he plays. You just hope it's not for a while.
Yeah, there was a flash there, I thought, in the second period where they had the one encounter with Ovechkin that he got the better of Ovechkin.
He had the full experience in the second period, if you think about it. I mean, let's be not that the goal that was waved off by offsides was completely on him, but that sequence does start, if I remember correctly, with a whiff clear. Like it just didn't, it wasn't strong enough. It was not a strong enough clear. Washington takes advantage of that. It eventually pays off with the goal that wasn't, right? And then he goes into the box for tripping. I mean, I get it. We can probably litigate whether or not there was some embellishment on that one. That's fine. But that was within the first 5 minutes of the second period. But then you mentioned that Ovechkin stop, if I remember correctly. That play on Ovechkin eventually gets to Stankoven, which led to a pretty decent chance there on that sequence, but obviously didn't pay off. But the point is, you got that full experience with Nikishin, and I would expect nothing less. I mean, we've been sarcastic about it, mainly because we're kind of referencing the way social media has treated this thing. Like the minute Brent Burns, who, by the way, did I watch that replay right on the Svechnikov goal? We're gonna talk about a good play by Burns there? Are we allowed to do that? Luke, are we allowed?
This is, as I said, what game was it? Burns played well, Game 3?
Yeah.
Brent Burns has been reading your tweets. And then Game 4, when Rod sent Nikishin out for warm-ups, Rod Brindamore has been reading your tweets. Apparently Jalen Chatfield was too, because even Jalen Chatfield wanted to get this guy into the lineup and see what he could
badly.
do.
But I am concerned that Chatfield didn't play in this game.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, I mean, he must be urinating blood or something, because I can't think of a reason for someone to miss a game in the playoffs, as we all know, unless there's something severe there, unless it's the classic Bobby Frazier explaining to me in 2012, Joe, you can't take a pain shot to your hand because you can't dribble the basketball. So it could be something like that.
I mean, it can also be something like it was kind of a hit, we think, that prompted this. You can have like a sore shoulder that is okay and gets worse, or you can numb and then you can't, or if he plays tonight, it runs the risk of getting worse for game 6 and game 7. Whereas if he doesn't play tonight, you might have him back for game 6 and game 7. There's a lot of variables there. Sometimes you're not always in the, I need to get shot up in the groin with the 11-inch needle to play tonight. And when it's a closeout game, if it's an elimination game, I bet he plays.
Yeah.
You're not keeping your powder dry necessarily, but you're making decisions like, I don't know that this is what it is. I'm gonna throw it out here. If Chatfield plays tonight, we will definitely lose him for game 6 and game 7 because we're just going to run all the tread off the tires. But if we hold him out tonight, and he gets a couple days of not doing whatever, we'll have him for game 6, game 7. Maybe he can get back to full strength if we win this series in between series.
Mike, are you good? Are you got the tie ready to go? Mike is ready to go. The thumbs up. Let's go quad box 2 days.
Quad boxing.
Quad box.
Ah.
Let's freaking go. Mike Maniscalco, Canes play-by-play, joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Mike! The Canes haven't won an Eastern Conference Finals game since 2006.
2006, yeah.
They got another crack at it. That's the important part. They're getting another crack at it, Mike.
Oh, that's it. And look, it's the third time in 7 years. Tampa, Vegas, Dallas. Dallas is going to do it 4 times, I think, in 7 years. And Florida, unless Toronto comes back. So, look, it's a good accomplishment. We know that that's going to be a storyline when they get in there. But the big thing for me tonight, and just kind of piggybacking a little bit on what I heard from Luke, but I'll take it a different way. You don't have Jalen Chatfield in the lineup tonight. You have a little bit of leeway to play with. And this is the thing about this Canes team. They don't change how they play based on who's in the lineup. This is what we do. This is how we do it. And look, I think getting out in front of this game tonight truly helped. That the stall goal in the first period is huge. And then a great use of the timeout to get the replay challenge to take the goal off the board that would have been the lead for the Washington Capitals. So, you can run down all of the things that have happened in that game, but I just keep coming back to it. The way this team plays, it's the same thing night in, night out, which is, for me, it's not boring. It wins and it creates havoc. You create turnovers, you create chances. So we'll see what happens from here on out, because the next round, who knows, everything starts over again, in my mind at least. But tonight, I don't know if it was of the utmost importance. If we're going to talk about a bigger picture down the road, Luke is the writer and has got better words than I do. But I do know that finishing this series quick will probably pay dividends as they wait for whatever happens in the next series with Toronto and Florida.
No, we know this. We know this about any playoff, the NBA, the NHL. Heck, we can even get a baseball, man. Availability throughout this entire process is the key thing. Britton Moore's talked about it. Rest is a weapon. This is now 2 series where they've been able to get some rest in between, so that's going to be crucial. And who knows? And this is something I'll Mike, I know you have a short window here, so we'll start with you. Everybody's excited about the win, but it's sometimes you kind of focus on things that did not happen in this series. And one thing that did not happen in this series was Sebastian Aho. Very, very quiet in this series. Mike, you're already kind of making almost a shoulder shruggy to that, but obviously Aho not scoring is something that's not going to work out in the Eastern Conference Finals, regardless who the opponent is. So what might be going on with him? Does it matter? How do you view Sebastian Aho's overall series?
I will put it in these terms. If we were going to game 6, I would have concerns about it, but we're not. So he's got time to figure it out. He's been a proven playoff performer. And look, Washington, they loaded up against Aho, Jarvis, and Svechnikov. So if you want to tell me that Aho didn't get on the board with goals, go right ahead. But his line mate did. And Andrei Svechnikov scored goals. Just the fact that Sebastian Aho didn't score goals or didn't get a touch of the puck to get it to him. Seth Jarvis, the last 3 games, has picked it up, which is one of those things where you can say, well, gee, how come Sebastian Aho doesn't have points if those guys are scoring? But he's on that line, and they're still driving things. So I'm not trying to, again, I don't want to sit here with pom-poms and say, oh, that's awesome. You're not going to get past either of the Leafs or the Panthers if you don't have Sebastian Aho or his line going. But what I take out of it is the line got going. Andrei Svechnikov is going right now. He is now the second leading goal scorer in the postseason. So that's what I take out of it. And the other thing is you are getting the contributions up and down the lineup that you need when your big gun is not firing the way that you expect them to.
Luke, thoughts on Aho?
Yeah, I go back to where we were after game 2 or whatever it was of the Devils series. Like, if you're winning games like this, I'm not as concerned about it as if you're in the hole. You got to remember, this is the second straight series where the Hurricanes were the better team with a gentleman's sweep. Not to belabor the point about the broadcast, where was that in the broadcast that the better team won? Because it's entirely clear in both of these series that the Hurricanes were a far superior team. They had better goaltending. In this series, the goaltending advantage was bigger than the last series. Obviously, Markstrom played really well. But they beat the Capitals, gave them nothing on the power play. They got 1 5-on-4 goal, 1 5-on-3 goal. Their power play was fine. And they're arguably their best player was not on the score sheet a lot. Their other arguably best player certainly was, which makes a huge difference. But I think there's probably not enough credit being given for the taking care of business aspect to this, which you look back at playoffs past, the Islander series, they let the Islanders send that one back to Raleigh. The Rangers, the Bruins,
Nashville. The Nashville series was the one
but that was a lot of Alex Nedeljkovic not being able to field a fly ball. So there's only so much you can do there. But you've got a healthy Freddie Anderson playing like a healthy Freddie Anderson. And you're doing what you do best against teams that can't stop you. And for some reason, we're talking about why that's boring hockey. It's not the dead puck era. This is not the O2 Devils.
No, this is not Detroit with a left wing lock. This is not the neutral zone trap. And I'm sorry, Luke, but I thought that Tripp and I did a really good job on the broadcast of explaining how good the Canes have been in this series. So I don't know what more we need to do.
You've done a wonderful job. But to the whole credit about the Carolina Hurricanes, even the one goal that was registered in this game was just a weird sequence, right? Initially, I'm like, what the heck is Slavin doing? But I think on the replay, it showed that there was a little bit of a stick lift that leads to a bad angle. You could what Slavin was trying to do. He's trying to get it, off the board, hits the bad angle. That catches Freddie off guard. He can't quite corral it. And next thing you know, it's in there. I'm just thinking to myself, that's a bad luck sequence all around. Other than that, the Canes were pretty dominant the whole time.
Yeah, they did lose the Corsi battle by a hair. So that's unusual for them, but they're also playing a team that's desperately trying to play their kind of game. I mean, that was one of the things that Spencer Carberry talked about a lot was we need to play more like they do to beat them. And when you're trying to beat someone at their own game, you got to be pretty good at it. The other part of it is we talked after whichever game that was. I guess it was game 3, the first period, when Ovechkin had those 2 great chances he couldn't finish. Tonight, another 2 chances that to me 10 years ago, Alex Ovechkin scores on both. And you're just dealing with a team that's built around a guy who's obviously a legendary player and all that, who's just not as good as he used to be. And when your offense and your power play are built around that, and you're not getting what you expect from him, and I'm increasingly convinced he's not 100%. I mean, he's practically my age, so who can blame him? But I think that makes a huge difference when you're, in the best players have to be best players. I mean, who was a better player in this series, Sebastian Aho or Alex Ovechkin? I would rather have Aho.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, you got to go.
No, I got a couple of more minutes on this one because we're waiting on the interview. So as long as I can see if nobody's at the interview podium, I got at least 2-3 more minutes. So.
I thought you'd appreciate this. Prototypical radio engineer over Mike's shoulder. Other than Rusty.
That is not prototypical. That is atypical Pat Malley. He is a unicorn. Like, we have gotten to work with some of the greats like David Modlin.
Of course.
I will have to bring up John Brockwell Rowley and Ben Alexander, but no. When it comes to being on the road, Pat Malley.
Thank you very much, Ray Otis.
Thank you, Ray Otis.
Not that one. No, you know what? And happy birthday to Rusty.
Yes.
It's his birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday to Rusty.
I'll tell you that Pat is such a legend. Even I know who he is.
Yes.
Hey, even if we want to assign the first goal to Slavin, the last time he got beat for a goal in the playoffs, he came back with like the most incredible game that we've seen.
Fair.
I'll take it.
I was just going out there was a weird sweet.
We'll
Weird.
They did have Jacob Chikrin hits a crossbar and I think a post. I think he had a double post. But then, at the end of the period, end of the second period, Seth Jarvis has one. So, I mean, we can talk about there were chances here or there. For me, though, what this keeps coming back to is this is a Canes team that in years past, well, the power play dries up. So now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Or the penalty kill that was great in the regular season. Well, it comes down a notch. Well, what are you going to do? Well, in 2 series, the power play, and they'll tell you the power play should have been better against Washington, but they got chances, and they scored 3 goals in the series in this one. The penalty kill is on another planet right now. If they keep playing like that, they're in good shape. What I keep looking at, though, is you can remember the mistake. And notice I said mistake, or point to, hey, that error led to a goal.
Yeah.
The Canes really, and Luke, I know that you've covered a whole bunch of teams that are really good. Gilio, you've covered them along the lines of college basketball, where you, at the end of the game, are talking about the only reason why the other team got anything is because this team gave it to them. And that's kind of, I think, been the story of these first 2 series. It hasn't been because Jersey or Washington really generated anything. They took advantage of mistakes, which are going to happen in a hockey game.
Yeah, I don't know that the Hurricanes have actually been beaten in any of these games.
Right.
Or the loss to New Jersey, the loss to Washington were really close games that obviously went one play or the other. But there hasn't been a game yet, and there certainly can be at some point where you're like, okay, they got to regroup. We got to get back to we got to get on the ice and get back. I mean, it's just been like, goodbye, Michael.
Bye, guys. I got to run.
Mike.
Thank you.
Ready for some mind-blowing hockey analysis, Luke?
What's that?
You ready for some mind-blowing?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were saying wanted me to finish, and I was like, I'm out.
The Hurricanes now under Rod Brind'Amour have outscored their opponents in the playoffs on the power play in a series 5 times. They're 5-0 in those series. Now, if you would like to go to a thread here, in 2019, when they were swept by Boston, the power play goal differential was -6, not in the Hurricanes' favor. 2023 against Florida, -2, not in the Hurricanes' favor. So, at the risk of reducing all of this to its simplest level, when Mike says the penalty kills at a different level, right? Because your goalie is the most important person on your penalty kill. In the regular season, you can ham and egg the thing, not in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I would disagree.
What happens when Ohio State wins a national championship and they're coming off? Wait, no,
that's different.
No, that's a different Google Doc.
Sorry.
I would push back on that a little bit because they've also I think part of the reason the penalty kill wasn't as good in 19 and 23, it was as good from the net out, but there were certainly goaltending issues in those series at times. I think they're better. The 4 guys on the ice are better and more dangerous. They're making teams game plan around them in a way you don't normally see, because Aho and Jarvis are so dangerous, because Stahl and Martinick or whoever he's playing with lean on you so heavily and pull you out of what you're doing. We saw it tonight. I mean, how many, maybe not scoring chances, but how many times did they carry the puck into the offensive zone shorthanded? Then you combine that with how well Freddie's playing. What are you laughing at? Oh, I see.
Yeah, from Michael. Bottom screen now is literally saying Bloomin' de Cock. You know what? When the Canes get to the Eastern Conference Finals, you might be doing that too.
As long as it's not 4 hours.
Yeah, we're good. See you,
It's not midnight. It's what time is Showtime Cinemax flip over, like 11?
Red Shoe Diaries doesn't come on until 1
We got
o'clock.
the rainbow lines down the middle of the screen right now.
But it's green. Don't care. I can see something.
I know what you're saying. As a group, their puck possession as a penalty kill is kind of crazy, and also their ability to not let teams get into the zone obviously is outstanding. But we just need to acknowledge that Freddie's playing at a different level.
100%. They've never
7-year run.
They've never had goaltending like this over and don't forget he missed a game over a 10 game span in the playoffs since Rod's taken over. It's gone up and down.
Yeah,
but this has been the best. Throw Peter. I mean, throw Kochetkov in there too in game whatever it was, game 5 of the Devil series. This is the best 10-game goaltending they've had. And
Yeah,
that's saying
because
something.
Freddie's best stretch was the 4 games that he lost against Florida,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. And
23.
then, yeah, it's not something we're used to seeing. So, if they can keep this going, it makes up for a lot of ills. And he was really good against the Capitals. There's no question about it. But I thought as good as the Capitals played, and I thought the Capitals really met the challenge in the last 3 games. They were never as good as the Hurricanes were overall. And that's a pretty big uphill battle to fight.
Well, if folks were tired about the shot volume conversation, they're going to be tired about the Eastern Conference Finals record and how things have gone for the Carolina Hurricanes, or the concept of the getting goalied. But you know what? Maybe the vibes are going to be really, really good going forward, because we had this at Lenovo Center this weekend.
So thank you, Gomez. Thank you, crew. And fucking go Hurricanes.
I mean,
Yeah, it's probably embarrassed to be a Blackhawks fan now. So
I mean, if Eddie Vedder's saying fucking go Hurricanes, can't lose
Crazy.
on that one, right?
Curse or don't.
Curse or don't. A lot of people might be cursing on the sports phone. All right, Luke, we appreciate it, man. Appreciate you
You
pulling
guys.
the double. We will talk to you later.
Yeah,
You don't have
I
to
just want to point out we are mere days away from Paul Maurice opining on shot volume.
Can't
And a
wait.
28-minute filibuster at the podium.
That
See you guys.
lovable rascal can't wait. All right, man. Take it easy. That's Luke DeCock on the Easter Automotive Group hotline. You are watching the After Dark on our YouTube channel. Because they won, I'll actually put this thing out on the normal podcast feed tonight. After Dark brought to you by Bloomin' Blinds. Call them 919-980-9815. They support us as a corporate champion. Best way you can support us is by visiting our corporate champions and calling them. So make the phone rings. Make Chris happy over at Bloomin' Blinds. Family-owned business here locally, 919-980-9815. I did get a text from Jared wondering if it's time for a Svechnikov Sunday after tonight. Not sure what. All I know is that whatever it is, it's going to make you thirsty, because boy, does Fetch make them thirsty. Just saying. But yeah, head over to Two Roosters, tworoosters.com. You can find the flavors. We're going to have our own podcast flavor here soon.
I'm excited about that.
And with the Canes extending their run in the playoffs, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that means more opportunities to go hit Two Roosters in the building. So go check them out. And we will continue to have hockey breaks, Joe. So shout out to Happy and Hale. Check them out. Download the app. Use our promo code OG25 for one time 25% off your order on the app. All right. We still got those black cards?
Yeah.
Screen grab it. Send one to us. theoggoesdigital@gmail.com, or like DM us on Instagram. Use that promo code, screen grab it, and you'll be on the running for the black metal card that will give you 20% off for life. You want to hit the OG Sports Phone?
Yes.
Let's do it.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
Michael. Was that Hunger Strike? No, it wasn't. I screwed that one up. All right. As we typically do with the After Dark, I am just raw dogging these calls as they come in. This is from a 919.
Yeah, nice job, TNT. You assholes put a giant circle around Ovechkin like we were too dumb to find the guy standing still on the screen. I hadn't seen a fluff job like that since I was working with Lexington Steel. It had all the pretentiousness of a Shane Beamer hype video with the same empty results. Hey, TNT, kiss my ass.
Curse or don't. Lex Steele. It's a great call.
Racket. Put a tongue. Here we go. All right, for 336.
So, color be yellow and not give me a golden cap, but Giglio, he's either drinking something, smoking something, or taking something that makes him a hell of a lot smarter than me. Jordan Stahl just scored. He's the captain of our team. I said if this team were to ever want to go deep in the playoffs, Stanley Cup, etc., Jordan Stahl does not need to be our captain. Well, he just scored. It's 1-0 Carolina. And you know what? Giglio's starting to look right. This whole maybe this thing's over, he called it. You're getting late early. Something to it. So I need whatever he's on. Thanks.
Also a common thread now in the 3 years where they make the conference finals. The second round has gone 5 games or fewer every time. of Rod's 9 series wins, only 4 are in 5 games or fewer. 2 of them happen to be this year, which I do think gets back to our original point when we started these playoffs. We both had kind of like 2010 Duke vibes about this Canes team.
Told you.
Not a lot of people were talking about them. You know, there was always a shinier object out there,
and there will continue to be.
Bracket luck is real.
This is true.
Remember in 2010, Boogie Cousins and John Wall lose to West Virginia.
Yes.
Duke gets to the Final Four. Boogie and John Wall ain't there.
And
it's not their fault.
By the way, the one thing that we misremember about that run for Duke too is that every time they advanced, it was, well, this other West Virginia's
they're going to get them.
Baylor's
going to get them.
Baylor's going to get them. There's too physical, you know, all that kind of stuff. And the team that played
Butler's they're a Cinderella. They're faded.
Butler was the only one that actually gave him. It's close. I'm just saying it was that
but,
close.
You know, so there are years where you kind of steal one, and if Rod is going to fulfill my prophecy as the new Coach K, normally you have one in your back pocket as the war machine.
Sure,
I think we could all agree Carolina's the Hurricanes are not a war machine. Okay,
no, they're not.
But
you don't need to be.
You don't always have to be.
You don't have to
win the thing.
So it comes down to a couple of different things. I think that Eric Tulsky deserves a lot of credit for navigating a very interesting first year as the GM. Now, you can spare me he's always been the shadow GM, whatever. This is his first time where he has to navigate this thing on his own and be the front-facing person as the general manager. And you got to remember where people were this past off season, mad about some of the losses. Okay. And then as they looked like a team that was just going to make the playoffs, and hey man, it is what it is. It's not your year. They tried to show you that no, we're still trying to make it our year with the Mikko Rantanen deal, right?
Yeah. Now you got to remember, you expand on those dynamics. That's not Tulsky sitting there in January going, you know who we really need,
right?
That there's another guy up there.
There's Dundon too.
This is what we really need.
Yes, but somebody has to pull it off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's both.
It's both of them. You got the guy who wants the particular thing, then you need the guy to make it work.
And then you kind of got Rod and the third leg of that being like, well, you two just give me a team that I can coach.
Which sometimes you fall into that ass backwards, right?
Yeah.
So you always understood.
It's called a break.
You understood what the Mikko Rantanen deal was all about. It was a signal to not just your own locker room, but to the NHL. Oh, guys, we're about this life, which is something that we were not used to covering the Canes for as long as we have. You have to, it's sometimes, even though you know it, you need the reminder, oh, wait a minute, Dundon is not Karmanos, okay?
Right.
Like, we're not dealing with a Ron Francis. I know what we'll do. We'll get a bunch of picks, you know, like that sort of a thing, right? And then just sit on these things. It's just one of those refreshers and reminders. But what I say, you fall into this back afterwards. After the Mikko Rantanen thing, you ended up getting a collection of guys together, not just chip on their shoulder, but I think guys that Rod could ultimately work with. Hard work, effort. You want to be here. Let's go out and do the damn thing. None of this works, though. And I don't want to oversimplify, but none of this works without Freddie Anderson. None of it works without Freddie Anderson. I mean, and
not playing at this level.
And this series, the way Washington has basically, we keep using this phrase, throwing the kitchen sink at Carolina, they've been able to weather that storm, if you will, with Freddie. And we saw it again early in this game. We saw it back in Raleigh in game 4, where they had to survive some stuff. And that's where we're at right now. What do we got here? You're like chuckling at the you're chuckling.
Mike's on one tonight. He's feeling good.
Oh yeah, he must be. He might be getting to some OG light. Maybe he got into the early stash. All right, let's go to an 864.
Little old Carolina Hurricanes, baby. Ain't nothing better than having a little gentleman's suite. You know, able to go ahead and put them Caps to bed. And you know, I think you guys were right on the money. I think Rod Brind'Amour is starting to get that little coaching magic that comes from living in the triangle, baby. He seems to know every single person. Every time you watch him in these, like, post-game lineouts or whatever, the little handshake line, I mean, he's giving everybody a big talking to, they're hugging and everything. He knows everybody in this league. Assistant coaches, other guys, you know, telling Rod, hey, man, sign me. I want to play for you in the Canes. If that doesn't sound just a little Coach K / Roy Williams-esque / you know, Valvano-esque, fitting right into the mold of being a triangle coach and just everybody happens to know you type deal and being well respected within your industry. I don't really know what does, man. So let's win a couple games in the Eastern Conference Final, man. A season of success. Can't ask for more than that, man. Thank you.
Well, we've got Rod now. Well, that was very Coach K. The handshake line is very Coach K.
Yeah.
But we have now Rod winning a game off of a set play, and now Rod winning a game ostensibly due to a timeout. Like,
Fair.
What is more ACC Legends Club? Shouts to the late great John Feinstein. What is more ACC Legends Club than calling a crucial timeout to win a basketball game?
The only thing to make it fully Duke is you need some sort of clock operator error to help
Tommy,
you out.
just leave Tommy B.
I'm just saying, you just need some sort of clock error that would work out. There's a fine line from doing the Coach K chest pat. You're in the line, you stop them like
Lynn Brooks. Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to get out of
than that.
You're better than that. There's a fine line between that sort of stuff. But then there's even a greater line when we do the Mac Brown. I'm about to consume your soul to give myself football life, which he tended to do on the football field. You know what I'm talking? Like Mac would just be like, he's like an MCU villain. Like who? What's that guy? He's the football soul sucker. He's about to take your essence. All right, to a 919.
I'm at a bar in Boston. The Hurricanes just won. I'm shouting. Everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy. That was beautiful, boys. Way to go. On to round 3.
I was brave in Boston watching this stuff. All right, to another 919.
They're not in the playoffs.
I know, but still, you telling me you don't have some like townie that's going to be mad at you for something that happened in the past?
Really shouldn't taunt Marshawn that way, but I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, to another 919.
Right there. Let's go, Canes.
Oh, no.
Let's go, Canes. Let's go, Canes. Let's go, Canes.
There was no cursing there. Hey, guy.
Little kid sits and fucking go Hurricanes. Any better style. I'm going to lose my shit. It would have been amazing.
Would have been amazing. Speaking of cursing, this is from a 910. Nikishan out here tempting me to go $5 gang on an anytime goal scorer. And oh fucking hell, my second period gang. Yeah, it went pretty wild. I could not find Nikishan on DraftKings because I had the same thought when I knew he was when I knew he was going to be in today, when he was going to be on the ice today. I was like, well, hell, let me just go ahead. Anytime goal scorer Nikishan. I could not find it on DraftKings. I don't know what's going on there. This is from a 919. Overheard at a very ... hydrated Rialto watch party. I was there. Great crowd. Hayes was out there doing his thing, as always. You would have loved it. They had a Pop-A-Shot for the kids, Joe.
That would have been amazing.
You would have been dunking on kids.
I would have been betting the kids.
Yes, you would have. Yes, you would have.
But Mr. Joe, I don't have any cash. Your parents have Venmo.
Chilio.Joe.
Cash out.
Venmo. Cash out right now. But you never know what you're going to hear at the Rialto. Quote, if you ever need a Lactaid, my family's got you. End quote. Was my brother there? My brother keeps that thing on him with Lactaid. Okay. Also, a dramatic retelling of a group of friends sending off stool samples for suspected parasites and reading off the results like Maury Povich. May or may not have been the same person. This was happening at the Rialto while there was a hockey game going on? Hayes up to some wild things down there, man. Goodness, I missed out on all of that. All right, to a 919.
This is Joseph in Wake Forest. I just want to congratulate the Hurricanes for getting past the second round, which has been a thorn in their side. And I hope that they continue this role all the way to playing for the Stanley Cup. I'm not a real knowledgeable person about the hockey. I just really watch the playoffs. I don't even bother with watching it during the season. So I think, I think they've done a well of a job. They were obviously better than the Capitals, even though the Capitals had some bigger players and really threw them at them this game. They weathered the storm and scored what it took to win the game. So I think that's cool. You guys take care.
Thanks for the call, Joseph.
That's cool.
Ken.
Also now, by the way, still Thursday.
Yeah.
Still the worst day of the week for Rod.
Not a bad night tonight, though.
Still the worst day of the week for Rod, but now 6 and 8 on Thursday.
Ken wants to do Gilio Papa Shot versus listeners for the content.
Oh, yeah.
Make that happen. Yeah. Again, you said Michael's on one. Is it bad if my 5-year-old daughter knows the end of Who Am I?
No,
PD
perfect.
Pablo. No, that's perfect. That's you're raising the kids right, man. You are raising the kids right. Let's see. Let's go to an 828. Wait, did I do this one?
This is
I already did that one. 828.
2 words. Gentleman's sweep. Hell yeah. Absolutely delicious. Nothing better than Fetch being the one who ended Ovechkin's career. There's got to be some beautiful poetry in that. Way to go, Canes. Let's go. Eastern Conference Finals, here we come. Robert and Raleigh.
Thank you, Robert. Let's see. What did I see here tonight? What did I get here? This is from a 919. More boring, Canes hockey or that state Virginia Tech basketball game?
Oh, God.
P.S. Someone check on PK Subban and Tom Wilson. All right, let's go to a 704.
Hey, guys, it's Paul. Man, can we just all take a moment to appreciate that we just got to watch a series where the greatest Russian hockey player of all time played Alexander Ovechkin. What a crazy series that was. Andrei Svechnikov is that fucking dude. Been waiting on it forever. He's that fucking dude. Let's go, baby. Also, working on a theory here. I think the hockey gods are putting the Hurricanes through their boss fights with their most evil enemies of all time. First round was Eric Holla. Second round was Tom Wilson. Third round is more than likely going to be Brad Marchand with the Florida Panthers. And of course, if they get to the Stanley Cup Finals, you fucking know who's going to be waiting there for them. Mikko Rantanen and the goddamn Dallas Stars. It's going to be the trial Hercules out here for the Hurricanes. But man, wouldn't it be sweet if they went through all of them to win it?
So that's the thing that would be the most comical. And if you believe in these types of things, much like there's no way we were going to get a Carolina Duke Final Four, right? Right? There's no way that's going to happen. Now we got it. And in a year, a postseason that has driven Canes fans insane on multiple levels because of the shot volume conversation, the kind of conversation we're going to have about
fold the franchise because Mikko Rantanen and your boy Chris Gensel didn't want to.
Yeah, my guy here. Jake Gensel. Well, Jake did want to be here, but that's another conversation altogether. But Mikko, because remember Mikko,
they couldn't lock him up.
No. Remember, nobody wanted Mikko. If you ask Steve Levy,
right.
He's just this this what did Luke call Alexander Semin, the poet warrior that's just out there looking for a home. That was apparently Mikko Rantanen, right? So all the stuff that's been annoying you, it would be that. The Dundon Bowl, right? Because of the whole Dallas situation and everything else. Let's see here. Let me go to the Steve, enough with the F-bombs. Uncalled for. Welcome to the After Dark, Steve. You can curse or don't, man. Curse or don't. It is what it is. All right, this is to a 619.
Fetch. It was always Fetch. Man, he just awakened his superstar X factor. We're so locked in. Also, shout out for the double doink at the end of the second period and the miracle stick save at the end of the first period. This game should have been 4-1. Man. Anyway, back to the thing I was saying. Svechnikov, he just became the guy. He's always been pretty good, but he just became the guy. Thanks for taking the call.
It is interesting. Hockey can be dumb, as I like to point out, in a lot of ways.
Sure.
And if you think about the totality of the series, the Canes have been the better team throughout. In the first game, which you could not have asked for a better situation, getting outshot, all that stuff. It needed overtime to happen on the road, right? And even in the only game in this series that ended up just kind of being the kind of game that you thought, oh man, this is truly going to be a wrap, was what? The 4-0 game. But even these games have been relatively tight contests. The double doink was one of those instances where you're like, man, would have been nice, right? And again, we've already
stank oven. score. Like,
Right.
he just barely nicked that thing with his stick, Thompson.
All right, let's see. I got a few more here.
Fetch.
All right, no, already did that one. Let's do this one from a 336.
Boys, it's John in Brooklyn. I'm just letting anybody know that's listening. I'm heading down to the NHL headquarters right now in Manhattan to start a memorial for the ratings in the Eastern Conference Finals. They can't take the boring hockey. No Ovechkin. What will the league ever do? I guess our little old hockey team will just play in front of no viewers. What a shame. We're headed to the Eastern Conference Finals.
It's funny. If you believe in all sorts of weird connections and whatnot, I had told our friends at Breaking Tea that the Bad for Ratings t-shirt is probably a dated reference. Nobody really gets it. You could just pull it from the store. No big deal, right? And yet here we are, right back into that conversation about ratings and everything else. I'm like, dummy.
Time is a flat circle.
Time is a flat circle.
The real question is, what do we do with that Rantanen jersey?
I think we leave it there. We don't touch it.
It's got to stay right there.
I've thought about that.
Because I was thinking of trading it out for the Morris.
Nope.
So that when we have that third cam.
No.
But I think you're right.
Nothing moves. No, because I honestly, I've thought about some things that I have been slacking on when it comes to the studio. Like, we still have this popcorn bucket that I need to put on some sort of shelf. I want to frame the Rantanen, right? We got to frame the MJ Morris. I got a Dreamville jersey that I want to, a soccer jersey that I want to frame. But as of right now,
that one's got to stay.
That's got to stay.
Okay.
Including my draft shirt that's underneath it. I still haven't taken that thing home, right? So all that stays. I feel like if we messed with that,
you're right. I don't know what I was thinking.
Come on, dude. It's the playoffs.
Okay.
It's the playoffs. Do not touch anything. I have shaved though.
Do we get to burn it LeBron James style?
No, we will frame it.
Okay.
We will frame it. All right, one more call.
Wow, what a great win for the Canes tonight. This is definitely the happiest that I've been to see a team from the Lenovo Center make it to their respective Final Four in over a year and a half. Although hopefully that parallel doesn't extend all the way out to Rod Brindamore.
What? Oh, you got another one?
I promised you a great stat.
Oh, you did. You told me 2 great stats tonight. What do we got?
So now, since 2019, NC State and the Carolina Hurricanes are 7-0 in elimination games at the Capital One Arena. I told you that building is Wolf Blood. 7-0. There you go. Can't argue with that math. You absolutely cannot argue with that math.
Don't go full Wolf Blood. I mean, I get it. Brooks is Wolf Blood. I understand.
If his son is Wolf Blood, then he is therefore Wolf Blood.
I understand that, but do you really want to invoke that? No.
In that building, it was good. In that building, it was good.
Fair enough.
7-0.
Let's see. From Clemson, don't take it home. I'm not messing.
Yeah, that was my bad, man. We have it. It is pretty glorious.
I'm not touching it. Okay. We are leaving it there. We understand it.
It has been good luck for Rantanen though, too. Now
I don't care. I really don't care.
Okay.
As long as, as long as they keep winning, that Rantanen jersey staying there. Anyway, big thanks to everybody who's been in the comments. Thanks for everybody who's been watching OG After Dark. And, of course, big thanks to Bloom and Blinds, who's bringing to the After Darks this postseason. So call them. Support them like you support us. So call them right now at 919-980-9815. They do blind repair, and for people who want to do 10 or more window treatments. So we're talking like really serious stuff here. We're talking like blackout shades, automation, some stuff that I didn't even know existed that they can do in your home with Bloom and Blinds. It all starts with a phone call, 919-980-9815. That's going to wrap it up for the OG After Dark. We'll have an OG mailbag for you tomorrow. And then, of course, we don't have any more After Darks until, what, a week maybe?
Ooh, it's a nice little break.
Little bit of break.
Your boy needs that Pearl Jam come down, so.
Are you still struggling from that?
A little bit.
Well, you know what? On that note.
So thank you, Gomez. Thank you, crew. And fucking go Hurricanes.